today I thought I'm going to share something with you with the theme of being the new year and many people setting New Year's resolutions. I wanted to share a phenomenon with you that kept creeping up for myself in my younger years and that I had to do the work on. But let me share that with you, so see if you can relate to that. But I used to be so enthusiastic and super excited. You know, that's the thing with childhood trauma. We miss the milestone of where we learn how to regulate our emotions. So all of our emotions can either be not existent at all or like through the roof, like really intense. So for me, that enthusiasm and that excitement can get really intense as well. So I always have to tone it down a little bit to be more balanced there. But I would enter the new year thinking I wanted to change every aspect of my life, yet making it better. Like I had good ideas and I had great goals and things like that, but I wanted to change everything about me, everything about how I approach work and my friendships and relationships and my sport and health and everything. I wanted to change in one go, entering that new year like this. And because I had so much enthusiasm and there's willpower there, I actually pulled it off for a little bit. Maybe you too, but then it fizzled. You slip here and you miss this and you get frustrated with yourself. You're questioning, I started to doubting myself, you know, and question and get really angry. And every time I slipped, that was just the perfect fuel for my toxic inner critique. You know, I had a very toxic inner critique back then. Maybe you too as well. And it just was beautiful fuel, like it was just going on and it even started to sabotage and hold me back from trying to keep going, and I slipped and slipped more. By March I was almost like, oh my gosh, I'm just useless, I'm just, you know, I just can never get anywhere, people were right, I'm just hopeless. And I was really sliding into that, and I felt shame, I felt defeated, and I gave up, you know, feeling that helplessness and that hopelessness. Can you relate to that? Maybe this is happening for you too. And it doesn't have to be the New Year's resolution. Sometimes we set goals in the middle of the year, but we're very enthusiastic and sometimes we set them so high for ourselves, not taking into account where we are at the moment, whether this is on a mental health or physical health. Not taking that into account, that comparing ourselves to other people. But that hopelessness and helplessness is very important to work on, because this is in childhood, because we were little, and generally people who abuse you are bigger and stronger and so much more intimidating than you. So it created this helplessness within us, and we took that into adulthood. So now we are bigger, we have a different agency in our life, but we don't feel we do. But I really had to sit down with myself and I had to think this through. So every time I'm setting myself goals like that, actually, I am setting myself up for failure, don't I? Every time I did that, I'm setting myself up for suffering, recreating that sense of I am helpless. So I had to really change the way I did the goal setting, or not completely, but I still like having goals, because I think having goals is important. It can help us build that sense of agency, but I have to set the goals so I can actually reach them, so I can have a sense of progress. That is so key, that sense of progress, to feel like, oh, I'm a person who gets things done. So depending where you're at on your healing journey, what kind of phase you're in, when we're in a kind of crisis mode, and this can be later on as well, like you may have felt like, I'm all done, I'm healed, I am thriving, everything's good, I've processed all the trauma, but you're working a lot and you have a tendency to push yourself to burnout. Okay, so whether this is a PTSD crisis or burnout or nervous breakdown, it really affects our capacity to think, our brain, the way we can memorize things, the way we can focus on stuff. And we really need to take that into account when we're setting goals and for ourselves. So often I don't set goals as such. You could say they're more like themes. Okay. Sometimes I have a theme of working on my patience. Patience with myself and my own healing and my own progress, and also patience with other people. I can be very impatient there as well. Okay. Many years I had a theme through the whole year on working on my health. So one of my mantras that I keep repeating for myself is, I'm a person who makes healthy choices. And again, this fluctuated over I was going to say the year, but even within a week, what I was able to do, whether this was in terms of exercising or the kind of meals that I could cook for myself, depending on how I physical felt, because I had a lot of health conditions and things like that too, so I had to constantly adjust those things. But if we make goals small enough that we can follow through on them, that can really help us build that sense of agency, that I'm a person who's capable of doing things. Okay? And one thing that I always work with clients on, or I have a few clients who specifically we're working on goals, but when we're working on goals, we don't just want to set random goals, we really want to go underneath and look at it. Why are you setting yourself this goal? Is this truly your goal? Or are you setting this because there's a sense of expectations? Expectation? Yeah, that's the word. Sorry, I got totally thrown here. I'm a little bit tired today. My neighbors had a big party that went all night. They're still going in the back. It doesn't happen very often, but so I'm a bit sleepy there. But back to goals. So when we're setting goals, we really want to look at underneath. Are you trying to live into someone else's expectations? Are you trying to fit into some societal thing, whatever that is there? Or is this truly a goal that is aligned with your values? So we always want to do some underlying work there so that it ties into something bigger, something meaningful for you, because that helps you to follow through. Okay? Otherwise you rely on willpower. And willpower, it fizzles out really fast. Okay, like I said with the first example, when I go in with all this enthusiasm, and I tried to change my whole life, there was a lot of willpower, and I pulled it off for a few days, but I didn't even make it till February. It started fizzling apart within weeks. Okay, so I just wanted to really highlight that when we can focus on one thing at a time, especially on the healing, then we can have that sense of progress and that sense of agency. And that doesn't mean that we have to have that thing fixed, because I believe healing is like a spiral. You keep going around to the same things, like I said, the patience. I'm not a very patient person, but every time I go around that spiral, I revisit patience, but it's on a different level. Okay? Because sometimes people say, oh, I'm going backwards. I believe there is no such thing as going backwards. You're on that spiral and you just keep going around, and you might be revisiting things, but you're no longer revisiting it at the same level as you did last time. You have new insights, you have new experiences, you had new learnings. Okay, maybe last time when you did that, you weren't really aware what's happening till afterwards, when you were reflecting, perhaps with someone else, with a friend, or you were journaling about it, or you're talking to your therapist about it. So that there was a reflection afterwards, but perhaps this time you became aware of what's happening for you in the situation. You may have not been able to change it just yet, but you became aware right then when it's happening, and that is huge. That is a huge shift. That is progress, and we need to allow ourselves to celebrate that and really feel good about that too. Okay. So that's not going backwards, we're just revisiting things as we're going around the spiral. And that's for everything, whether this is our connections with our friendships, setting boundaries, working on becoming healthier, making healthier food choices, the way we exercise, the way we're looking after our body, the way we are holding space for ourselves. And all these things we can just keep revisiting on a new level there. So when I'm really curious, what is it that you're working on for this year? Do you have a theme for the whole year? Or do you like doing it like I usually have one focus for a month. It feels to me like a good time spent. Some people like to have it for a week. It's totally up to you. We're all so unique, and it's like allowing ourselves to explore and become playful and figure this out. It's like, oh, what works for me? and being kind and gentle with yourself there as well. I think that is always key, to allow yourself to explore and then find out some certain things that they don't work. But that doesn't mean that because that doesn't work, I'm a failure. It just means, oh no, I just figured out, okay, this doesn't work for me, not right now. Maybe sometime in future it might. Maybe it's just really not my thing, full stop, and that is totally okay. There's so many other options out there. And I just keep telling myself, I'm curious, and I'm an explorer, I'm a researcher, and I'm going to find something that will work for me. Okay, so I hope this was helpful, and I'm curious to hear how you go about that and what kind of tips you have for us, as always. In the meantime, as always, I'm sending you lots and lots of love and rainbows to brighten up the tough times just a little. See you guys, bye!